Here at the old Triple SC, even we are capable of making mistakes, and even we are capable of admitting it when it happens. We talked a little while ago about consoles and locked frame rates.
Right.
And how I thought that Control was making this big, innovative leap, uncapping the frame rate and being able to run at 120.
Right.
And many revelations this week. Some of them not so fun. Others quite impressive. I finally did the I was called to do the research because I got bored and I put Spider-Man 2 in the console, and I thought, well, I'm gonna give this a spin.
Yeah.
If you will borrow the web-swinging parlance. That is real wood right there.
I need a soundboard for the laughing.
Yeah, well, we got the wrong mics out right now.
Yeah.
But I put that in, and I gave her a whirl once again, and for whatever reason, I ended up in the visual menu, the video menu.
Right.
And I can't reconstruct the timeline exactly. I don't remember how exactly I came to this conclusion, but the game drew my attention to the frame rate.
Right.
And most games now will give you a couple of options of what you want your visual to look like, whether you want to be geared towards performance or if you want the graphics to be your high focus, or if you want like a fidelity between the two.
Right.
And anyway, after messing around with the console and with the TV, I think I've got it to the point where it is running qualifying games at 120 rather than being capped at 60.
How'd you do that though?
Well, you basically got to mess around with your video settings on both your TV and your console. So
Okay.
my TV has been set on game mode for a long time now, and I thought, well, I'll experiment, and I smart calibrated my TV and took it off of game mode, and it's now on film mode, I think.
Yeah.
And so that seems to have activated a couple extra options in the video settings of the games and on the console.
Okay.
And now it's saying, hey, run applicable games at 120 hertz. Which is kind of interesting because I was always under the impression, and you have to correct me where I'm wrong, hit the comments, let us know where we might have flubbed one, where we had an air ball that we missed somewhere. I was always under the impression that frames per second and hertz was the same thing. Like 120 frames per second was 120 hertz. 60 was 60. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that they were.
Well, all right. So frames per second is how many images your graphics card generates, while hertz is how many times your monitor can refresh the screen per second. So one is literally just talking about the capability of the console, and the other one's talking about the capability of the monitor. So yeah, hertz literally just determines how fast the refresh happens.
If you can get the two together, then
yeah,
then you're gold.
I always thought that that's what it was. Whatever the hertz was how many frames per second it was capable of supporting.
Yeah.
Because when I bought my monitor, you didn't buy it in FPS, you bought it in hertz. So.
No. So I mean, it always sounded like it ran
hand in hand.
Ran hand in hand. And I always tried to shoot for 120, but more and more games are getting the update where they can run 120.
Right.
Now maybe that's not true 120, but the trend I see is that they are trying to move the threshold past six. Like 60 has been the lock for a long time now,
Right.
and they're getting where they're trying to move past 60, and they're kind of settling into this 80 to 100 plus.
Yeah.
And they'd love to get to 120, but maybe 120
Extra 20 frames per second, still nice.
yeah, maybe 120 is not quite feasible with every single game, every single time.
Yeah.
But they're trying to move that bar further than where it's been for a long time now.
Yeah.
And that's been impressive. And so when I was like, all right, well, what games are they saying can run 120 frames or 120 hertz? However it works out. And like the shooters, like the Call of Duty franchise, at least since Black Ops Cold War, have all been running at 120. Titanfall 2, they went back and upped the software to where it can run at 120 now, and it's been doing that since 2021, I guess.
Right. Which explains why that game still looks so good.
Yeah, we played it a little bit ago just to test ourselves and see whether we could see the difference. And I mean, the game has looked clean since it
First
came
time
out.
we played it, yeah. And, I had it before 2021, so I wish I could tell you what I remember it looking like.
Yeah.
On the PS4.
Well, in the research I've had to force myself to do because I realized that I was wrong. Gronk went bonk and screwed up the details. So I was like, all right, well, how long have they been capable of running 120 hertz?
Right.
And Microsoft actually took the victory lap on that one. They've been doing it since the Xbox One, since 2018. They were actually the first console to run 120, which is not necessarily wild to me, but
Seems like a long time to have already been
to
sitting at that capability.
have already been sitting there.
Yeah.
And the PS5 has done it since launch. Like the consoles have been capable of running 120 for a while now, but the games themselves, I don't understand how the tech works, so I don't understand what the disconnect is. But it seems like there is a software issue, not a hardware issue,
Right.
which somebody would have to explain to me.
See, I don't understand because it seems like even still, constantly, there's debates through comment sections on posts that discuss this, that it's like you can't have 120 frames per second on console. It's not even feasible. They argue that computer is the only one that's going to be capable of that and actually pull it off. So I'm curious. I'd almost like to see somebody do a side by side and show us how it looked on one and how it looked on the other. And I'm sure it's out there for consumption, if you will, but
I know that a lot of our fellow YouTubers probably do nothing but do those side by side comparisons, either PC to console or PlayStation to Xbox, and then the gamut of capable TVs and everything in between.
right.
So I'm sure it's out there, but I would probably still be surprised at how far off they are. Like, just an absolute Titanic gaming PC that costs like $4,000 is gonna run a game better than a console.
Well, I think if I remember correctly, we went on vacation in July and we was talking to somebody about that, and he said that he had just got the current graphic card for his computer, and the monitor told him it was reading at like 180 frames per second or 160 frames per second. Or the computer told him it was processing it at that speed or whatever, and he was like, dude, it looks so good. You can't beat it. And it just makes me wonder how. I don't even think that he has, the most advanced specs on that computer other than the graphics card right now. So kind of makes you wonder what they're actually capable of if you got all the right things inside there.
Well, I know that, and with it, without going into a whole oh my god control again thing, I know that how excited I was to open control back up after they released that big update where they uncapped the frame rate.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, hell, I mean, imagine how sweet other games are gonna look.
Yeah.
Running 120 or 120 hertz or 120 FPS or.
Yeah. Now, did you feel like you seen a difference after you turned that setting on?
I mean, maybe. I don't know how wild it is to the untrained eye.
Yeah.
Like, it's probably something I would struggle to see.
Really notice or have it stand out.
To really have it stand out to my naked eye. Now, if I watched side by side, I'd probably, hell.
Yeah.
But I mean, the game never looked bad.
Yeah.
It always ran clean.
Yeah.
And
it came out just what?
2019.
A year after they made 120 FPS available. So
that I know that one of the things that, like, there's just, the game is so visually oriented. There's so much going on visually in that game.
Yeah.
And allowing for that, like, it's got a lot it's got to keep track of and do, just the logistics tied to the coding.
Oh yeah.
Is wild. And to keep track of all that visually is probably a heavy expectation on the hardware.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Just I hats off to the coding guys that know how to do all this stuff and know how to program all these games so that they do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Because let's go back to PlayStation 1 days where you had Final Fantasy VII on multiple discs. They could only write so much code on a disc. Now here we are almost 30 years later, and it's like, look at how much more advanced the tech is. The innovation is miles and miles and measures light years away from where we were 30 years ago.
Yeah. Especially with like VR. I've seen somebody playing Call of Duty on one of those things that it like straps around you and has an arm in the back, so that way you can actually physically run to make your character move in the game, and it was pretty cool to watch. I'm not gonna lie, it had me very intrigued. I'm sure that setup is not cheap, but it'd be cool nonetheless.
How far are we from literally just like plugging ourselves into like an IV bag and like a catheter and everything else, and just being like, I want to live in virtual reality?
Yeah. Well, the metaverse was a huge thing a few years ago, selling all that online real estate because everybody was going to want to be online living and online shopping and online concert going.
Reality is fast approaching the point where we're all truly in the Matrix.
Yeah.
And I guess there's a little bit of a tangent we just went off on, but
yeah, let's get back to the console. So just to even, kind of laugh at how the times have changed. It's funny to think back to each generation and how each one, all we could talk about was, man, these are the best graphics I've ever seen before. Yeah. And it's progressed and progressed and progressed to the point you're watching the sweat drip off whoever the basketball player is standing at the free throw line.
I am just glad that we are advanced enough that the graphics are no longer what they were back when we were on GoldenEye for the 64, where the fire animation in a lot of games was still 2D, even though everything else was being rendered in 3D.
Right.
But the beautiful thing about GoldenEye was that literally everything that you could destroy was packed full of explosives. And it didn't matter if it was a chair, it didn't matter if it was a trash can. You shot that thing enough times, it would explode like a grenade just went off inside of it.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish there was something like that now, but there is so much novelty
And just that alone.
in just that. It's like you can't replicate that in a meaningful way. That was like just for GoldenEye 25 years ago. Or
35.
30 years ago, whatever it's been now. And the novelty of old games and going back and revisiting, Skylar made this point. It's like you're that's why everybody's going back and they're buying the old systems, they're buying old games. They're buying memories.
Yeah.
They're buying a ticket back in time.
Well, I think video games and music are probably the two biggest contributors to being as close to a time machine as we're going to get, because they can take you back, and smells will too. Like if I smell something just right, that'll take me back. But it's far harder to figure out how to recreate a smell. Whereas a song, you could pick that on YouTube real quick, and that'll take you back to a place special or whatever for you.
Briefly, I remember not thinking too much of my sense of smell. It's just like, I can smell a thing. Who cares? But a long time ago, I happened to be in a situation where I realized just how much my sense of smell actually mattered, and that a smell would take me back, and a scent, an aroma, a chemical connection would feel like home.
Yeah.
And you can't put a price on something like that.
No, you're not wrong.
For those that joined us last time for our console war part 2 debate episode
series at this point.
We're thinking we're gonna have to, like every Friday, that's gonna be our episode. That's gonna be the next episode of our console.
Yeah. Our
console series. And we were talking about Alan Wake.
Correct.
And we kind of went down a rabbit hole and just stayed there and never came back out of Wonderland to finish talking about Alan Wake. And I kind of decided, you and I started it and I finished it.
Right.
And what I will say about Alan Wake is it is a very straightforward game.
Yeah.
And by my estimates, it's a very simple game. Now, you can go around and collect all those coffee thermoses or whatever, but it's just a collection item, just so there's something for you to seek out. Yeah. And
trophy hunters.
Yeah, for trophy hunters. So that you will explore the environment. But even with that being said, to my way of thinking, there's just not a lot of secrets to go out and find in Alan Wake.
Yeah.
They have the fire boxes that had the flare guns and the flashbangs and the batteries and stuff in them.
Yeah.
But other than that, in the manuscript pages, like, it's a very simple game. There's not a lot of meat on those bones.
Yeah.
It's a straight shot from one side to the other, basically, and it's a long shot. That game takes a little bit of investment, especially Act 3.
It took most of game night just to get to Act 4.
Yeah.
Because 3 just... Good
went
Lord.
on for a few hours.
Yeah.
The game takes something like... Let's say you speed run it. I don't know what the speed run record is, but it's...
Right.
You're pushing 5 or 6 hours at least, even if you take no wrong turns.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you're pushing several hours.
No failed encounters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so we played the game, and I completed it because I wanted to get it crossed off my list. But I think I made a mistake in playing Control first, because one of the expansions is actually all about Alan Wake.
Right.
And so, it's like Alan Wake, Dr. Hartman, Thomas, just all these name drops that I wanted to familiarize myself with because I thought so much of Control.
Right.
So then I play Alan Wake, and while I'm playing Alan Wake, a part of my brain is trying to catalog everything as it relates to what I learned playing Control.
Yeah.
So I'm ingesting the game for the sake of Control and not for the sake of Alan Wake.
Yeah.
And that's probably not great.
Yeah.
And at one point in the, as we're playing, I'm like, I just want to get through this game. I'm struggling here, and I just want to get this done.
Right.
And I'm not saying that it was a bad game or I didn't have fun playing it, but
Played it for the wrong reasons.
I just played it for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, you can't go back and re-experience something again for the first time.
Right.
Right? You can't watch a movie again for the first time. You can't listen to a song again or read a book again. You can't do anything again for the first time.
Right.
Or anything for the first time again. And so
I wasn't the only one that was suggesting that you play that, though, was I?
no, actually, my sister-in-law's boyfriend Mason, Mason, this is your shout out. Pay attention. He was giving me a little bit of sass about it one night after because I was like, oh yeah, I started it and Alan Wake 2, and at the time had not yet finished either one of them, and so he's big into Alan Wake, or at least he's bigger than I am into Alan Wake, and so we were talking about it, and he started kind of waving his finger in my face. He's like, you need to play Alan Wake, and you need to play Alan Wake 2 so that you can talk about them on your show. They're amazing games. Get it done.
Sounds like somebody I know with Control.
And you still have not played that on your own. I have at least completed Alan Wake.
That's fair.
So, sit back down.
I'll just bring
Or stand so that you can sit back
bring my
down.
Xbox next game night, and I'll start my own Control save.
Okay. Well, you really, that's the problem of going over to somebody else's house and playing a game on there, especially if you like it, because all that work you just did is on their console.
Like, I can't tell you how many times we've ended a game night, and I've went home and played the exact same game I was playing here at your house on my own console.
Yeah.
Just so that way I could work through my own saves. That's the only reason I haven't took the time to ingest a lot of the games that you have that you want me to play, because I'm like, I want to experience them as my own game experience for the first time with my console. So if I ever decide to just pick it back up one random Thursday, I can. But if it's saved on your Xbox, you busy right now, bub? I'm feeling a little bit of Tomb Raider.
I mean, the struggle is real sometimes, but I got, before we forget and get away.
Yeah, you got to Alan Wake, yep.
I got done with Alan Wake, and so I wanted to be able to go back to Mason and tell him, hey, I beat Alan Wake. And one of the things that I found is that because I didn't finish Alan Wake, I played Control. I beat Control. I love Control. I wanted to go back to Alan Wake, but in a way, I shot myself in the foot again, because I started Alan Wake 2.
Right.
And Alan Wake 2 is just this sprawling labyrinth of extra things to do, puzzles to solve, mysteries to unravel, and just all, just a massive expansion on
equations and puzzles
on the games, and
Yeah.
just an unbelievable leap into more meat on those Alan Wake bones.
Yeah.
And so starting Alan Wake 2, getting, by my estimates, halfway through the game, and then stopping and then trying to go back and play OG Alan Wake, and it's like, man, where is all this stuff that was Alan Wake 2?
Yeah.
And I was talking to Mason about that, and I was like, I find myself longing for those things that made Alan Wake 2 so cool. And you look back at Alan Wake, the first Alan Wake, and it's like, eh.
Yeah.
And what's beautiful, Mason reviewed the game so brilliantly that I have to give him this credit, because he's like, Alan Wake is kind of like a rough draft for what eventually becomes Alan Wake 2.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you can understand the brilliance of the fact that that's like a meta critique of the fact that he's a writer,
Right. Makes that much better.
it's that much sweeter. Like,
Yeah.
it is just chef's kiss.
That's meant to be the review.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so played Alan Wake, at least core Alan Wake, beat it, set it back down again.
Yeah.
And
You think you'll play it again to ingest it differently?
I don't know how to play the game and give it the appreciation they probably wish I could.
Would you be able to do it if you watch somebody else play it? Because I know sometimes that can make a difference for people.
I would probably have to watch somebody play it 100% it, whatever, and experience it that way. Like, I wouldn't, unless I just wanted to wrap up the 2 expansion missions. Like, I doubt I will go back for Alan Wake.
Okay.
And it's not a bad game, but I think it has good ideas, but there's just not enough meat on those bones for me to go back and try to pick at them again.
Yeah.
Other than to wrap up the 2 expansion missions, there's not much there
Yeah.
for me to go back for.
That's fair.
It is appropriately simple, but I look at it and wish that they had put in more secrets, that they had put in more, hey, go find it stuff.
Yeah.
That there was more lore there to really...
Do you feel like Control nailed that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And Alan Wake 2 ups that ante. Because they put so much in Alan Wake 2. It is a wild escalation. But one thing I will say, well, there's several things I will say. Over the course of my lifetime, I'm certain I will say many more things. But
He's a talker. That's why we love him.
that's why we started a podcast, because somebody liked listening to me talk.
No, that's right. Puts me to sleep at night.
Did the guy that you work with that said I had a very ASMR voice, did he ever expand on that any?
No,
or have you?
it's the last review I've gotten over that.
I've never heard that one before myself. So hearing that my voice is soothing enough, it's putting people to bed,
You
is
got a monotone voice. It's calming.
neither highs nor lows. It's just right there in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Baseline.
That's right.
Control. Control gave us some news this year at the Game Awards. I did not realize it at the time, but they actually announced Control 2. Control Resonant,
What?
where you take at least the initial teasers. Maybe it's not the whole game. Maybe, at some point you switch or you swap back and forth like Alan Wake 2. You switch between Alan Wake and Saga Anderson.
Oh, okay.
Multiple times across the course of the game. You'd play a mission or two as Alan Wake, and then you'd you'd take on, you'd play as Saga Anderson for a mission or two, and you kept leapfrogging
Right.
like that over the course of the game. But Control Resonant, at least part of the game, you play as her brother Dylan, who comes out of his coma
Right.
that he was at the end of the first game, and he is, he's got para-utilitarian powers of his own, just like Jesse did in Control. And I'll be curious what's going on there, whether they're at odds or whether they're working together, because the initial teaser suggests that the board woke you up and is sending you after Jessie because she has gone rogue somehow.
Okay.
So I'm curious what that's going to look like by the time we get to the game.
Right.
And I am honestly, even knowing that, I'm more excited for Control Resonant right now than I am anything else that's coming out next year.
Well, so let me ask you. You just talked about Alan Wake 2 being heavy in the puzzles and mazes. If Control Resonance like that, is that going to be a problem for you?
Oh, I'm sure there will be parts of Control 2 where I'm like, okay, I can't figure this puzzle out. I guess I'm getting on YouTube. And
I mean, you did it with the first one.
Yeah.
Didn't stop you from appreciating it.
The clock puzzle, yeah. I had to go back and...
You had to like restart it?
No.
Oh, you're
It's alright.
already?
Yep. Well, I mean, what is it the lore that you appreciate about Control the most? I mean, I know there's a lot to appreciate, but
There's so much there that I don't know what I appreciate most.
right.
Like, I couldn't tell you whether, if they took all the lore out and I just had the gameplay to work with, I'd probably still appreciate it as much.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of one of the things that they do with Control, and I don't want to turn this into a whole, hey, we're talking about Control again episode.
Right. But since you brought up 2.
One of the things that I appreciate about Control, I talked about it briefly, was that they don't just bomb you with exposition the entire time. Like, you have to go out and kind of learn information reading the case files and the documents and stuff like that, and you kind of got to draw your own conclusions.
Right.
But I like that. Like, they really threaded the needle with their storytelling. Like, they gave you just enough to bring you in, and then they told you go out and find whatever else you can. We're not going to give you everything. Go out and find some of it on your own.
Right.
And then fill in the pieces.
Yeah.
Fill in the holes. And so I hope that Control Resonant does something like that. Remedy hasn't let me down yet.
Yeah.
They haven't, just aggressively been like, we're gonna make a clunker. We're gonna make a lemon. I have not yet seen that.
Right. So you got high hopes for
Oh yeah.
what the gameplay will be like, and what puzzles you may find yourself puzzling through.
I have very high hopes.
Yeah.
I have incredible hopes. I don't exactly know, and I'm a little concerned that we get to Control 2 and we're not even playing as Jessie in this one.
Yeah.
That worries me, because like, she was just such a force in the first game, and she was such an interesting character to
play as.
and
Yeah.
to just get into Control 2 and be like, nah, we're gonna do Dylan this time.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what if they give Dylan the same storyline?
The same.
He doesn't know what's going on there, and he's trying to assess it and figure it out. And
Well, that's gonna be
also,
cool.
he's got to kill his sister.
That'll be, especially to go back and maybe he goes back and you're seeing all the things that the first game talks about, and you're seeing his side of these stories, and
Right.
you're seeing his side of all these experiences. That could be cool. Like it is a very small hole to thread the needle with, but I'm here for it. I mean, hopefully it won't be the and I still haven't played Firebreak.
Yeah.
Hopefully we won't get hung up on those misfortunes, and they'll be like, hey, we're actually interested in building the universe of Control, the Remedy verse, and
Right.
Control Resonant will offer more of that material,
Yeah.
because Firebreak wasn't a lore game. That wasn't a, hey, pay attention to this because it's going to be important on the test later game.
Well, I'm unfamiliar with it. What was the style of that game?
It was just, it was a shooter. It was kind of like a wave shooter,
Okay.
and I'm not, because I haven't actually sat down to play it. I only know the reviews that I've heard.
Yeah.
And those reviews were not kind to it as a extension of Control. It's like, okay, so you're part of the Firebreak team, and you're in the oldest house, and you're just fighting in endless waves of hiss monsters.
Okay.
It's like,
It's kind of like that one mission in Control.
yeah,
Whatever that one was.
the Shoom, the arcade game, Shoom game. Oh yeah, but those were a lot of fun though.
Yeah.
I mean, just
You got some pretty solid reward mods out of it too.
oh yeah.
Nothing crazy, but I mean, definitely some upgrades.
I looked for a little bit after we did that. I looked for the vending machine that was possessed, and I couldn't find it. I went through, I don't know, 5 or 6 different locations trying to find out where the damn vending machine was, because if I remember the Let's Play video I watched, eventually you're able to properly destroy it or incapacitate it. You can do the whole pulling the possession out, dispelling whatever spirit it is that is inside of it, like Jesse does with all kinds of things.
Right.
But I wasn't able to find it.
Is that an achievement?
I don't. No. No, that's just like a bonus.
Okay.
I
One of those things to just appreciate about it. Yeah.
There's just most of the things you're not going to get an achievement for, but they are still so much fun to do.
Yeah.
And I actually platinumed the core game.
Okay.
That's one of 3 games that I managed to platinum the core game. I got all the trophies for core Control.
Nice.
But rather than drone on and turn this into, hey, we're reviewing Control again, we like to make sure that Chris also has something to talk about.
Well, I do have a question for you.
What's that?
Well, I forgot it. We'll come back to it.
I was hanging on I was hanging on right there. You had me. I could not wait for that.
Let's talk about Expedition 33. Losing their Indie Game of the Year title.
Yeah.
Over
generative AI use.
It's, what was it? They created some of the world or whatever, some of the landscape with AI generation. And so I wonder what percentage it had to be, or if any at all. I mean, Are we out here just assuming that no game is made with any AI incorporation?
I think up to a certain point, we're hoping that's been the case. That just blanket using AI across the industry seems
Frowned upon.
frowned upon. Seems ish
Yeah.
these days. Nobody wants to. Nobody wants to, and I'm guessing if they did, nobody's going to admit to it now.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be like those Hollywood insider stories. Such and such was actually a monster the whole time. Oh my God!
Well, because I mean that's exactly what happened here. Was somebody came out after the fact and said that a portion of AI was used, and that's the whole reason they're in the mess that they're in with it.
Well, it was, and I guess in like the Indie Game Awards is an entirely different award system than what they do at the Game Awards, because as far as I've heard, they've not lost all 9 of those
Right.
Game Awards that they
It's
won.
just the one.
But it's this indie game
Okay.
platform that they're like, we're taking that back.
Yeah.
And
What classifies as an indie game?
I would guess that's not what's a 10 list of big developers these days, like Activision, EA, Remedy. I don't know how they qualify there, honestly.
Independence from large publishers, allowing small teams or individuals creative freedom to innovate with unique mechanics, art, and stories, often with smaller budgets and digital distribution. So, okay.
So
not made by a AAA company.
So here's an interesting question. If there is a problem with using AI, and there is a like you just Googled that,
Right.
and right at the top of the field is the AI overview of that information.
Right.
How do you know that's not
wrong?
That's not wrong, or how do you know that's?
Well, we touched on this, and I've seen somebody give a math equation that it got wrong.
Yeah.
I can't. It was a word question, I think,
Yeah.
but when Google turned it said show your work, and when it turned it into a math equation, it had it all right until the very end.
Well, it's kind of funny because like there's been a couple of times where I've gotten the wild hair, and I'm like, I want to see if I can confuse the algorithm.
Stump it.
See if I can stump the AI program.
Yeah.
And I don't remember what it would have been now, and we don't have quite the time that I would love to get into this with, because one of the things that we're trying to do is bring the hour plus, hour 20, hour 40 minute time frames down so they're a little more digestible.
Yeah.
Give you guys a little bit left to wonder at and be excited for the next episode, rather than cover 40 years worth of information in a single hour and a half.
That's right.
But hopefully I just lost what I was going to say.
It's all right.
Do you almost think we need to do like a coming attractions thing? Hey, this is what we're planning on talking about, and
We might have to. Well, obviously, if AI has got you thinking that we're running short on time, we'll get back to that one maybe next Monday.
It's kind of fun. There was a lot of, we actually had to re-record this.
Yeah.
Today we recorded it once this morning, and now we have to do it again now.
Somebody forgot to unmute the mic.
So there was a bunch that we covered this morning that we have not been able to go back over again.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have to save all that stuff for next time, and maybe that can, well, I don't know if we're recording Friday or not, because it's the day after the holiday.
I don't have any reason to believe we can't. I work anyway, so my job doesn't care. After
I mean, if you can get over here,
we'll see why not.
I'm ready to swing on it. But
Because we gotta keep going to console wars.
yep.
That's the series we're gonna keep at Friday.
Yeah.
So
Friday's going to be console wars, so we
That's
got to
right.
make sure we're tied back into PlayStation, Xbox, or whatever else
Whatever
you're
it is.
rocking.
that's right.
So Chris and I will say Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you and all the people you love.
We'll see you again before New Year's, but take care of yourselves. Stay warm. Enjoy the togetherness. See you next time.
Until next time.